Let's go to India. And we're travelling back in time to meet a woman we know almost nothing about, except through a few paintings. Her name is Sahifa Bahnu, and she was a famous female miniature artist at the Mughal royal court in the 17th century. The Mughal dynasty ruled for over 300 years and was known for amazing cultural and architectural achievements, including building the beautiful and majestic Taj Mahal. And at its peak, this empire covered much of the Indian subcontinent, including parts of the present-day countries of India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Bangladesh. The Mughal Empire was mostly Muslim, and this is where we find Sahifa, one of the few female painters at the Mughal royal court. And even though we know very little about her, her paintings can still tell us who she was, and she can also show us a world where men were not allowed. So let's explore her work. We don't know how or why Sahifa became one of the few female painters, but when we look at her miniature painting here, we can see she had a great eye for details. Remember, some of these miniature paintings are only about 17 by 7 centimetres or 6 by 3 inches in size. So Sahifa was incredibly skilled, and Mughal painters often used brushes made with a single hair to get such precise details. It's absolutely mind-blowing, and I can't even make sense of my own handwriting sometimes. This painting by Sahifa is called The Son Who Mourned His Father, and is inspired by a Persian poem called Conference of the Birds. So imagine you're in the luxurious and opulent Mughal royal court, looking at this painting while someone tells you the story of the Conference of the Birds. The storyteller tells you the story of a bird scared to die as this scared bird, and his fellow birds prepare for a difficult journey to meet a mystical bird called the simurgh. To help with the bird's fear, a fellow bird, called the hoopoe, tells a story about a young man who is very sad because his father died. This is the scene you see here that Sahifa has painted, which is at the cemetery. So let's zoom in to see what's going on. We see the son walking behind his father's coffin, overwhelmed with grief. An elder comforts the son, telling him that his father's pain is over and that no one can avoid death. The painting also shows the next stage, where the body is taken to the cemetery. The final stage is symbolized by a bird flying toward a white cage hanging from a tree, representing the soul's journey to heaven. The story of the Conference of the Birds ends with a twist. Because after a long and difficult journey, only 30 birds reach the mystical bird, the simurgh. When they arrive, they discover that simurgh actually means 30 birds in Persian, and they see their own reflections in the simurgh. This means that the journey was about self-discovery, and that the simurgh they were seeking was within themselves all along. And that's certainly a life lesson we all learn throughout our lives. We cannot avoid emotions such as sadness and grief. I like knowing the story behind a painting. It makes it come more alive. Don't you agree? Through the next painting, called Lady Painting a Self-Portrait, while her attendant faces her holding a mirror, Sahifa is able to show us something that male painters in the Mughal royal court couldn't: the harem. The harem has been somewhat sensationalized by Western films and literature, but it was a secluded and private place for women and children. Perhaps what we're seeing is a glimpse of part of the harem of the Mughal court here. The men we see might be the eunuchs who guarded the harem. Their position allowed them to manage who could enter or leave the harem. What's interesting, though, if we really zoom in on this painting, is that we see this lady who is painting a self-portrait. Is this Sahifa herself? What do you think? We really admire Sahifa for her amazing artistic detailed skills, and because she was one of the very few women artists who became famous during the Mughal era. Her talent, determination, and the fact that people recognized her work say a lot about her as a person. Let us know in the comments what you think of Sahifa, even if it's just an emoji. It'll help us a lot and encourage us to create more videos. And as always, Don't forget to support our channel by subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing. Until next time, keep exploring the wonders of the artistic world.